Hey, what's going on, Panda fan? This is your boy Tambourine Panda back at you again with my buddy Grant, co-hosting with me here on the sixth episode review of the Star Trek Picard series. And I think we're both in agreement that this episode is definitely the best.
Best one yet!
Definitely the best one yet.
Best one yet!
Ah, it's the best.
Ah!
It's the best.
Ah!
Around. Nothing's ever gonna take you down. You're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna keep you down. But anyway, so we both are in agreement that this is definitely the best episode so far of the series. Cash and Scotty, thank you guys for the likes on the stream, by the way. So yeah, join us tonight as we review episode 6.
For my like and share.
Thanks for the like and share, buddy. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't pop it up on the notifications when you like and share.
WTF, mate? I like and share every time I see one.
I don't know. Anyway, so we're back tonight with episode 6, The Impossible Box. And
I think I saw a porno name that once.
I think I did too, actually, one of these days back in the past. Possible Box. But anyway, so Grant, you and I both agree that this is definitely the best episode in the series so far. Even better than that like heisty like Star City Rag episode from last week.
Yeah, that one was fun. And then there was a little bit of cheers to you.
Cheers to you, sir.
Indeed. Delicious apple juice.
Tasty.
So yeah, we the last one was fun in parts and then also drama in parts.
Yep.
And this was drama wire to wire.
It was, yes. And we'll go ahead and I'll just throw the very first image that we have.
Oh,
up
Mike
here.
Myers, before he kills us, is telling me why.
Why? If you do a heart, it doesn't show up as a like, though. Streamlabs or dashboard, only a thumbs up does.
Interesting, yeah, because I always mash the heart button.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird
So
that
I'll
it
try
doesn't do
this.
that. Let's do that instead and see. Weird. Because I know hearts and likes are good for interaction.
There it is, yeah.
There it is.
God
be damned.
Just the thumbs up.
The more you know. Cheers.
Well, I guess I'm done loving the stream, and I guess I'll just like it.
Fine, like the streams all you want, buddy.
You know in my heart, though,
I know.
that I actually mean I love it.
I know you love it.
Share didn't pop up either, though, and I'm wondering why that is.
I don't know. Maybe you love shared it.
I wrote a post. I might have had something to do with it.
Or it's in a group, or did you share it on your own personal timeline?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the only reason why that wouldn't come up is because a group has to approve it. But anyway. So, you and I are both in agreement that this is the best episode. And we were talking a little bit before we came on the podcast, and I was mentioning to you about that feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach, like, where you're just like, okay, what's going to happen? Like, can you, like, come on.
You can't mash the play button fast
You can't,
enough.
you want to, like, fast forward 10 seconds because you're like, what's next?
Yeah, I call that the 24 feeling because I felt like the entire time I watched 24, that happened.
And at this point now, I think we're starting to really, starting to hit the stride with the show. As we've mentioned in previous episodes, this is obviously not, your father's the next generation. Although there's a really, really awesome nod.
Yes.
That
we'll get to it.
in the
It's
episode. Great. To kind of the next generation motifs and all that sort of stuff. Ginge, thank you for the like. It's been a while, buddy. Yeah, man. How's it going, dude? How the stream's been going for you? Appreciate you coming in and liking the Picard review series tonight. Make sure, Panda Fam, if you haven't already, if you like this sort of stuff, if you like a little bit of thank you. If you like kind of the what's the word I'm looking for? The
discourse?
The exit, the we're going off the beaten path, we're taking a separate route here. If you like stuff that's not just
departure.
your normal, departure. Thank you. A departure from the norm. If you like a departure from the norm and you like doing stuff like this, or you like watching stuff like this and not just watching me play video games all the time, make sure you smash that like and share button. Get me and my buddy Grant here out there. because this is certainly not the only review series that he and I have planned for the future. But this is obviously something both he and I are passionate about. So
yeah, that's what we got going on right now. This is kind of our pilot, and based on your feedback, we'll do some give and take, and we'll try and polish this and get it to be something that both he and I enjoy, and something that the Panda Fam enjoys as well.
absolutely, absolutely. Obviously, this is kind of like the setup that I have right now and all that, and all your feedback is very important to me, Panda Fam. Anything that you guys have an idea or constructive criticism about with these podcasts, please let me know so that I can go ahead and tweak that and make it better for you forward. But anyway, I digress. Episode 6, The Impossible Box.
Awesome.
there was one not so impossible.
Possible box yourself twice.
Yes.
Also, we could get real English teacher here and say, "We're cute."
Oh, sure.
Oh,
sure it is. Or maybe the cube that Narek was.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be.
Is the impossible.
That's what it's supposed to be. The puzzle box is the impossible
box.
box.
The Borg cube is like a real life representation of Narek.
We're going down the English teacher path.
We're going down the rabbit hole here, boys and girls. Sorry, I haven't been around. Been trying to get everyone some love and focus on me. Oh, you
gotta focus on yourself. You gotta look out for number one.
Gotta focus on yourself.
This is important.
Christian, thank you for the like on the stream, buddy. And I understand where you're coming from, Ginge. I understand absolutely, because I feel like I haven't gotten out there quite as much to support other streamers, but at the same time, I'm doing this with my buddy. I've got the stream pretty much 7 days a week, and I run a family business, as most of you know. I don't want to say on the side, but that's what pays the bills and everything. So
he runs the family business so that he can stream for y'all.
So that I can stream for you guys. So yeah, essentially. So yeah, but anyway,
thanks for the share, Christian.
Yeah, thank you, Christian, for the share and the like. Bloody, thank you for the like on the page and the personal. I appreciate that. Again, welcome in everybody to the Star Trek Picard series review. We are on episode 6, The Impossible Box, this week. And like you and I were talking about before the stream, we were talking about that feeling where you want to, just push forward in the episode and you want to see what's next. And throughout this entire episode, I felt...
Hello and good night, Bloody.
Hello and good night, buddy. Yeah,
Bloody.
Get yourself some sleep, man. What is it? 4:30 in the morning there in Greece?
Oh, Greece.
Yeah, tuning in from Greece, man.
Listen, I don't know how much you like rock and roll, all right? But Firewind is an awesome Greek band. You like Firewind? I hope so. They're excellent. Gus G, fantastic guitarist.
Well, hopefully he answers before he...
I hope so.
He bounces out. But anyway, so we're in the back end of this particular season, and while the first half was a lot of exposition, a lot of character development, a lot of building up to this point, I felt like the last episode...
Yeah, the back half of the last episode and all of this episode.
And all of this episode.
We're getting a whole bunch of payoff.
We're getting a lot of payoff. And like you said, it was beat for beat. So we'll dive right into the episode. We'll start talking about it, and the first thing I want to mention, which we talked about again before the stream, we like to watch the episode once more before we pop on with the live stream podcast, just to kind of refresh memories.
Yeah, Bloody.
Hell yeah, dude. He's like, yeah, I know them. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. By the way, Doom Eternal in less than a month, guys. For those of you who want to catch some rip and tear, we're doing a lot of Doom streams here over the next few weeks.
Oh, Heather, that's so sweet.
Good evening to everyone on here. You and your players on here. My favorite players on here. Thank you very much, Heather. We're doing our Picard,
Star Trek Picard.
Our Star Trek Picard review series. Yeah, we're doing our review series tonight.
You're
so
speaking the love.
Spreading the love on here.
Was this a spreading? I suppose I'm over here and that's a D and not a K.
Spreading the love. Spreading the love. So anyway,
we appreciate it and feel it.
We definitely appreciate that, Heather. Thank you very, very much. We take in the love. We love the love. Pandas love the love. And we love bamboos. Anyway, so we start in with this particular episode, and this is juxtaposed nicely in very, very intricate, detailed ways with the very first episode's opening. In that it was Picard dreaming about Data and playing a card game with him, and then also with the scene with Mars exploding in the background. So kind of almost like a mashup of like the things that traumatized Picard or have traumatized him over the last 20 years.
Yep.
And I think this dream with Soji.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
All the dreams are traumatic.
Yeah.
And flashbacks.
Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I just literally thought about it as it was coming out of my mouth. Rock and roll. Anyway, so we get that kind of with Soji here. Like, she's got a very traumatic, some sort of traumatic event.
Night, bloody.
Okay, I'm out to rest. Like you said, 4:40 a.m. here. Yeah, have a good night, man. And if you're down to play anything tomorrow, man, hit me up. Let me know. I'm doing a collaboration with The Strange One and Public Square Gaming tomorrow morning on Apex Legends.
You could play Mortal Kombat with your friend in Vietnam.
What are you talking about?
Oh.
What are you talking about?
You don't know?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's Liar Liar. No, not Liar Liar. Cable Guy. When he takes him to the big satellite dish, and he gives him that speech twice. It's the same speech, but the second one's in the rain. And he's talking about what you can do with that big satellite. We don't need a satellite now. We got the Wi-Fi's. But back then...
we do got the Wi-Fi's.
But back then, just make sure nobody runs off with them. People like to steal your Wi-Fi's.
Yeah.
Back then, you had that big satellite dish, and he's like, you could watch your favorite shows or play Mortal Kombat with your friend in Vietnam.
The only reference I remember from Cable Guy is...
Which is actually a Star Trek reference.
Star Trek reference.
Oh, we come full circle.
Boom.
Here we go.
We're after it here tonight, guys. So, anyway, so speaking about coming full circle, we have this particular dream sequence with Soji.
Thanks, Maddox, for the like.
Thank you for the like and the couple of shares. 3
Hey,
4 shares. Hell yeah, buddy. Cheers to that. Appreciate that very much, buddy. Thank you.
Oh, this is delicious.
So we're talking about the Soji and all these things going full circle. It's a juxtaposition of kind of how we start the entire series off with Picard and his dream with Data and Mars and how that's a traumatic event. Both of those, him losing Data and then the Mars explosion.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Soji, it's obviously some sort of traumatic event, and you see the flowers that I think her name, not her name, but her sister's name. Remember how she mentions in the first episode, my father named me after these hybrid flowers or whatever.
A flower named Dodge? That's a terrible name for a flower.
It was like Dodgemanthemus.
Oh, that's a much better flower name.
Like, it was like the scientific.
It's a much better flower name.
The scientific
than just Dodge. Because like, what's this flower called? Dodge. That's a terrible flower name.
I can't remember what the name of it was, but like it had her, like a part of her name, or like her name as a part of it, or whatever it was. And I think those were the flowers that we saw. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
And I'm wondering because, and we'll get to this way later in the review here. Anyway, so she has this dream, and she goes in, and it's her father's lab, and at this point now we know that her father is a mix of Data and Maddox and possibly Soong as well too. So
Soong, I would say her grandfather.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Grandpappy.
I would agree with that. Heather, thank you for the like on the stream, by the way. I appreciate that.
Heather Jones.
Yeah. Heather Jones. So anyway, she walks in.
Yeah, there's lightning and thunders.
Thunder and rain, and she's got this vivid dream going on, or nightmare, whatever you want to call it. She walks into the lab, and then like her dad yells at her, and that's when she snaps out of it, and she wakes up.
Yeah, wakes up next to
Narek,
the Romulan D that she's been riding.
Exactly. And we come to find out that, well, I mean, we may have known this already, but Romulans have 2 different names, one that they have, and then one that
this is the first I'd heard of it. I don't recall this happening before.
And then one that they give to the person that they give their heart to, or they love, or what. The Romulan
it's like a true name, right?
Right. It's like a true name. So
kind of for those of you who pay attention to Wheel of Time. There's a Wheel of Time parallel here where there's a true name, and you can damage if you know somebody's true name. Exactly like you.
Right. Names are very...
That should be a review series also when they start airing that. You're going to love that shit.
What?
Wheel of Time.
Oh.
You know about it?
I've not heard about
Wheel of Time sidebar.
Okay.
This is an epic fantasy series that's like, I don't know,
I've heard of
15
Wheel
or
of
so
Time.
books, and it's fucking awesome. Like sword and sorcery shit, typical, very stereotypical farm boy with mysterious parentage, like follows a lot of the tropes, but does it really
Superman tropes.
really well. Like Superman, Luke Skywalker, every sword and sorcery book ever.
Okay.
Tropes.
Okay.
But like kind of wrote the book on it. So Robert Jordan's the guy that wrote it, and he got most of the way through it and then croaked the last 3 books. So he had a bunch of notes, like extensive notes. Not too dissimilar from our boy J.R.R. Martin.
Okay.
Extensive notes. So they actually, his wife put in a different fantasy author named Brandon Sanderson to finish the last 3 books based on what he gleaned from the notes. And there were actually like passages written, and he made sure and cared to include them all. Seamlessly kind of worked them in. It was really, really good. But now they're making it into a series, I believe, on Amazon. It's been optioned, and like it's going to be freaking fantastic.
Amazon's scooping up a lot of.
Yeah, if you thought Game of Thrones was good, look out.
Amazon's scooping up a lot of good series lately too. From what I do, Lord of the Rings. They had Dark Tower until that pilot failed, to my understanding, which upsets me.
It's infuriating.
It is. It is. Because I was ready to do a review series on that shit too. Like,
but yeah.
like on top of it. But anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot of magic, and you can do some damage to somebody if you know their true name.
But and that's an interesting point too, because names hold a lot of significance in a lot of different movie genres. Horror movies, when you say like the name of the demon, cast it out, and blah blah blah, or you know. So the fact that this guy is like, oh, I have a true name, and like you don't know actually what it is, and blah blah blah, that'll play, and we'll get to that later on in the review series or the review.
He uses it to play her,
wiggle like a record, wiggle. Yeah, so she wakes up from this dream with him, and he basically, like, this whole episode is kind of putting a bow on this mind game that he's been playing with her for the last 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah, it's been a super, super long game. They didn't even get over to it last episode. They just assumed that, like, she was busy riding him and he was busy playing her like a fiddle.
Well, and I think, too, it speaks to both of the characters, his sister, Rizzo, because they, like, immediately kill Dodge in the first episode, and, like, it gets messy, people find out about it, and this is kind of what's led to all of this.
This is a lot more Romulan. Romulan's a lot more like trickery,
subversive.
And, yeah, exactly. There's games within games, and,
right?
You know, even with fake Romulans, like the episode Future Imperfect, you still see games within games.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So he's literally
have fun changing your iPad.
You'll be back after I change my iPad. Charge my iPad.
Yeah, charge. Oh, there's a change. iPad, not his iPad.
Yeah. Also, like, how do you have multiple iPads? That's awesome.
That would be awesome.
That would be fantastic. So
I don't even
we'll
have one iPad. So
me neither. So yeah, we'll see when you come back, Heather. But anyway, so he basically is playing these mind games. And the scenes that I'm showing you, this is her dream sequence, and then she wakes up with him in bed next to her.
They make a blanket for her.
And he's
cuddling,
whispers sweet nothings into her ears. I want to know all of you. Blah 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 blah. Trying to get further into the whole mind game manipulation.
What's up, Peter?
Hey, what's going on, Peter? Good to see you, buddy. But anyway. So we get this very quick scene, and he walks out of the room, and she's like, Narek, and he's like, but that's not my name.
Well, she makes mention of it. He's like, well, what do you want to know? He's like, how about your real name? Because I know that Romulans have different names that they don't tell everybody.
Right.
And he's like,
you know a lot about us, don't you? Yep.
Still plays it real cagey like.
Yep, real cagey. Oh, you know so much about us. Tell me more about these dreams. And like totally
He's gonna
like
pump you for information.
Totally throws the diversion tactic. Hey, what's going on, Peter? Good to see you, buddy.
This is my buddy from the gym.
Oh, very nice.
He's a beast.
Welcome in, Peter. Welcome in beast mode. Legend in the chat. So anyway, we go from that scene to back to Picard, and he's talking to Girardi and basically getting the down low on what happened to Maddox, because as we all know at this point, hopefully,
she murdered him.
She murdered. He's mort. He's
contorted.
Yes, it's contorted. He's so dead right now, and she's the one that did it. And obviously, this decision weighs on her. It's mentioned throughout this episode.
She's not feeling great about it.
She's got, and we talked about this too. She's Girardi is surprisingly a more complex character than I thought she was going to be. Like at the beginning, she was like, "I'm nerdy scientist lady." Like
in the
space
beginning,
is so boring. Blah 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 blah.
In the beginning, in some lesser Picard reviews, there were a lot of people that were ragging on that character and saying it's like super stereotypical. Nobody talks like that. Sounds like she's from the 21st century, and it's going to be a super boring trope. Like character.
I want to interject real quick. To those of you who have not enjoyed this show or whatever, like
fuck you. Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah, listen. There have been good things and bad through the first 5 episodes. We can all agree on that. Like there's been some very lazy kind of writing moments. There's been a lot of exposition in few episodes. Really, the only action we've gotten until this particular episode, and like you said, the last.
Thanks for the follow, Peter.
Hey, yeah, Peter, welcome to the Panda Fam. Appreciate it, buddy. But we talked about it. You said the second half of the last episode and all of this episode. Like this is really the only action we've gotten. Like as far as like fast paced movement of exposition.
I would say the pilot had some.
Right.
But since then, there have been blips here and there. There was the Romulan attack on Chateau Picard. There was like little bits. There was the bit with Seven of Nine with the ship fight. But this was the first kind of wall-to-wall action-packed.
Like, there's things going on in this entire episode, episode. Right, exactly. It's not just exposition.
Lady Panda in the house.
But what I did enjoy is how you still got the character development in this episode, which brings me back to Girardi and how she's more complex than we might have been initially led to believe. Mm-hmm. So she's having this conversation with Picard here in this particular scene, and he's asking her, like, we can assume he's asking her about what happened to Maddox because he's dead. And she's like, all the trauma,
too much for him to handle.
too much to handle, and his heart gave out. I killed him. Like that's like, and I mentioned this to you before we got live with this. I was like, listen, I'm okay. Like, we're just gonna breeze over the fact that she killed Maddox in this episode, and we're okay with that because it's not about that in this episode.
The chickens will come home to roost eventually on that.
And we have 4 more episodes.
I'm sure it's not gonna. And there's ostensibly 2 more seasons, definitely 1, and probably 2 more seasons of this at least.
Right. And in this particular season, 4 episodes. So. We still got a lot of time to.
Yeah, I'm a Coke guy myself.
We kind of got a lot of Mark. It's Mark. What's up, Mark? Yeah, you know what I'm drinking. Don't tell me to drink Pepsi Zero either or Coke Zero. None of that bullshit. Get out.
My dad's a Coke Zero fan. I like standard Coca-Cola if I'm going regular colas.
Right,
colas. I'm talking. That doesn't include root beer. That doesn't include Dr. Pepper. Those are on a level in and of themselves.
They are,
but
far superior to Coke or Pepsi.
Word. But Coke if I'm doing cola. Diet Pepsi if I'm doing Diet Cola.
Okay.
So it's a lot more crisp than Diet Coke, which tastes like syrup.
It does. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I would agree that Diet Pepsi is a little got that like crisp factor to it.
Yeah. Wasn't there an ad campaign about that?
There was, I think, actually. Maybe we're just brainwashed. Who knows?
I don't know. That's how I feel.
Pepsi Max, that's where it's at. That's right, Pepsi Max. I forgot. Mark.
How can you trash on Pepsi and then advocate for Pepsi Max?
But anyway,
so you might as well just go all out and get a surge,
right?
Or a jolt.
Oh my God, Jesus. Anyway, so we're back to we're talking about Dr. Girardi and how her character might be more complex than we all were initially.
Most assuredly more complex.
Most assuredly more complex than we were led to believe. So we basically have a scene where she tells Picard that Maddox's heart gave out, couldn't take it anymore.
And then she's like, oh, so hey, how about that Borg cube, eh?
Exactly. She goes into detail. Like, all of Picard's like, they assimilated you and pumped nanobites into your face piece and up your asshole. And, yeah. Like, and I'm like, oh my God, lady. Like, how about you,
go
like...
down on this guy.
How about you like stop vividly like repainting this picture for him?
Let's shift it off of my trauma aggressively.
Aggressively onto your trauma. Like let me project onto you real quick. Like I said, Girardi's got some things.
Oh yeah, this is bad and I'm uncomfortable talking about it. How about the worst thing that ever happened to you? What about that, huh?
Oh yeah, how about that? When they played the Borg assimilated Jiraz. So basically, yeah, she goes into this very detailed description of his time as a Borg. And he robes up your ass. Basically, that's what she's. And she does it with such a cool face too. Like she's very
Van Damme about it.
The more I think about Girardi as a character, the more I'm tempted to believe she's kind of a sociopath.
Word. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing when I was watching this episode for the first time in the shower this morning.
Like, at this...
Don't read into that. I just happened to watch this as I'm getting ready for work.
At this point, I think something's going to happen. Like, I'm going to call this now. Girardi's going to do something in the last couple of episodes that's going to fuck...
Oh, yeah.
Excuse my language. That's going to screw...
We've been swearing the whole time.
That's going to screw... Well, no, F-bomb.
Oh, I see.
That's going to screw...
Hey, thanks, Mark.
That's going to screw the entire... that beard is killer. Oh, hell yeah it is. Hell yeah it is. That's going to screw the crew over or, like, somehow, like, subvert the mission or something.
It's going to be bad.
Clearly, she's
Maybe there's going to be Deanna Riker with a phaser to her head.
Dude.
Girardi behind her.
Right? Damn.
Don't move or the empath gets it. Which is the exact opposite of a sociopath. There'd be two sides of it.
Anyway, so I think she's gonna... Like, it's already been shown that she's been gotten to by somebody. They've shown her something.
By they, we're assuming it's Admiral O-Face.
We assume it's Commodore O-Face. Who got to her, I think it was in episode 1 or 2.
Two, I believe.
2? Yeah.
After he went to the Daystrom.
Right.
To her.
Right.
What's up, Joe Pauling?
So, you know, I'm starting to think that Girardi's kind of a sociopathic character, and that's reinforced by what happens almost immediately after this scene between her and Picard. There's a little bit of other things that happen, and we'll come back to Girardi here in a couple of minutes. But essentially, this scene ends with Picard like she suggests that this particular artifact they're going to, well, they're cut off from the collective. They can change, like they're changed Borg, and he's like, no, never.
They're terrible people.
They
metastasize.
They coolly assimilate entire civilizations. They metastasize. Like just Patrick Stewart being all.
You think I look like Bert Kreischer?
Being all.
I don't look like Bert Kreischer.
That's an awesome comparison.
Do not look like Bert Kreischer.
If he cut his hair like to match like the shape of his head, maybe a little bit more.
Gained like 60 pounds.
And gained like 60 pounds.
However, if I were as funny as Bert Kreischer, I would take it.
Joe, thank you for the like on the stream, by the way. So anyway, he basically tells Girardi, like, no, they haven't changed. They are the same Borg. They always have been. They just metastasize, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, oh, sorry to bring it up. Like, just Girardi just seems so cold and callous now that I, like, start thinking about, like, how she is. And
she's a smooth operator.
She is. She's a lot, like I said, she's a lot more complex than
anybody imagined at the start of
this. So, he gets up and leaves at this point and goes to his room and starts looking up or asking for his computer to look up like artifact and something else and the Borg
of apple juice.
And he starts filing through these pictures, and we get to the titular photo.
Yeah.
The titular photo.
Yeah.
Of him as Locutus. Back in the day.
They do a really cool thing, and they've done this once before in the show
with Ramda,
and
Soji with the duality on the hollow or whatever. Absolutely. So I noticed that too.
They move over, and you get a straight-on view of Picard looking through the transparent
with
view screen, and it's Locutus's face over his face.
And it's interesting that 20 years removed from all this stuff, maybe even longer, 20, 21, 22. You know, he was assimilated in season 2 of The Next Generation.
3 into 4.
3 into 4, sorry. Or was it 2 into 3?
3 into 4.
2 was the first time Q sent them in to meet the Borg. That's right. You're right.
In the episode Q Who.
Q Who. Yeah, so, you know, but I found it interesting because they made mention, he said something about this is the first time I've been to a Borg cube.
No, he said that the last time I was on a Borg cube, it was not voluntary.
Right. Which is false, isn't it?
No, I think there's a technicality here.
Okay, because I noticed that, like, that for some strange reason, that statement stuck out to me because of First Contact.
First Contact, there's 2 things. It's a sphere, first of all.
Okay, fair enough.
Second of all, is he actually on it? Because I know they start to assimilate parts of the Enterprise.
True.
And I'm not sure if he actually makes his way on that sphere.
It's the Enterprise that he's on. That's right. Good call on that one. Good call on that.
That is out of my ass. It's probably been 15 years since I've seen that movie.
The more when I think about it, because when I saw that and I saw that comment by him or that statement by him in the episode, I was like, I'm gonna need to talk to Grant about this because I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this is false or not, but that doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
but
that
maybe
scene with like the
is.
Queen like on the thing.
Yeah, where she like
lowered
zips
into her
body.
Yeah,
that's on the Enterprise.
Correct.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's
and,
on
like,
the Enterprise.
She's like working on grafting like regular looking skin onto Data and all that.
Obi says, to be honest, my miniature pandas, I've never watched one episode of Star Trek. Well, that's okay. We can educate you on...
Yeah, you're welcome to stick around as long as you like. We're happy to be talking about episode 6 of Picard, but there's a bunch of great Trek out there. Well, there's some great Trek and there's not so great Trek.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, we're, you know... Thank you for clarifying that with me, because you're absolutely right. Now that I think about it, it was the Enterprise that they assimilated. That was the Enterprise that happened on, and like where Data gets his like they give him actual skin and all that stuff.
They blow on it,
and he gets the goosebumps and everything. Yeah.
And then at the end of it, he's like, "I was tempted." Like, well, how long? Like 0.183 seconds. But for an android, that's an eternity. He's like, but basically that's him saying like, the whole time I was fucking playing her.
Basically, like, yeah. Basically. Because he was, like, Data played her good in that, movie, man. He played her good.
What makes this miniature? I have to ask.
Oh, I think he's... And here we come back to the scene that I was mentioning a couple of minutes ago, where Rios is, like, playing some soccer or something.
He's playing, like 24th century hacky sack or whatever.
Yeah, hacky sack or whatever it is. And she walks in on him, and they're, of course, he's got his shirt off. He's all, he's
like looking all like...
Getting, like, sweaty and
I'm
sporty.
sexy.
I'm sweaty and sporty.
Ooh.
I'm the captain of the ship. I'm Rios. And then she comes in, and she's like, well, I just happen to be in my sports bra, too, so... How about we get it on? And Rios and Girardi end up hooking up. Now there is definitely
she jumps on.
There's definitely
Rio
some seeds.
stick.
There's some seeds of this in the previous episode.
Yeah, this isn't out of nowhere.
Where like they kind of have some awkward interactions and like I would call it flirting on her part. And, like him not really like knowing how to like flirt back because he's been like a Han Solo Rios pilot.
No,
always.
Hobie, you're definitely dead on. And this is a very Han Solo-esque character.
This is actually...
it's funny that from the still, you can discern this.
Ironically, but unironically, like, you're absolutely right. Like, Rios is absolutely a Han Solo type character in this show. Like, he's the bandit rebel pilot.
I would say he's a little bit more on the rule follower side.
He is.
Than Han Solo. But he's supposed to be roguish.
I think they kind of go out of their way to establish that, though, because Picard's like, I smell a Federation all over you, and he had a ship before this, and I think, see, the thing, too, about Rios is he's an interesting character in that we haven't heard anything about his backstory.
No, we don't know anything about his backstory.
We know nothing. We
just
know
that he has some shrapnel on his shoulder when we first saw him, and he's like, fast enough for you, old man.
Yeah, fast enough to make the Kessel
run in 13 parsecs.
Yeah, exactly. But you're absolutely right, Hobie. This is, he's like the Han Solo character in the series. And this is the scene where, like, we were talking about this. We're like, you just killed your lover because it was established in the last episode that Maddox and Girardi had a relationship, an intimate relationship.
Yeah.
And she murders him.
Yeah, so this is, and we talked about this a little bit pre-stream, this is interesting because there was all this flirting, and then they leave it alone for an entire episode where she's crying, watching videos of herself and Maddox, and then she proceeds to murder him. And then they jump right back into her hopping right on his D. Fascinating.
Fascinating. And then also an interesting coping mechanism for someone who's just murdered their lover.
Coping mechanism or sociopath? Stay tuned and find out.
Stay tuned and find out. We don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying about Girardi. So, anyway, we get this sequence between her and Rios, and they you know, bow chicka wow wow. Wow, wow, wow. Speaking of weird bow chicka wow wow interactions.
Oh, yeah. We go back to the brother and sister, which I guess with all the step-sibling porn out there being a thing right now, it fits right in, but...
I guess. I mean, every interaction between these two, I feel a weird sexual vibe.
tension. She's like, oh, little brother, I'm your
little
total
brother.
dom.
And like he like that's why I captured this picture, because I wanted to talk about that
yeah,
too.
She's like, I'm your
and she's like
dom,
grabbing and massaging his head, and he like slaps her hand away, like, oh sissy.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, no. She's the dom, like DOMME with an E, and he's like a little like bratty sub.
Oh my god, so true. But like it's clear that like his methodology is working here. Like, all right, let's get back.
You too, Mark.
Mark says, I'm going to have to head to bed. It's 3:06. Hope to see you real soon, Bert Kreischer. Take care, brother. So Game of Thrones. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. With the brother-sister thing. I guess it's just, you know what? Maybe that's why the step-siblings porn is so popular, because of Game of Thrones.
Maybe.
Chicken or the egg, Will? The chicken or the egg?
Is that the chicken? your Star Trek reference. Anyway, shit, sleep good, my bro. Yeah, he's Mark's tuning in from the UK. So we had Bloody from Greece, we had Mark from the UK.
We're international.
We're international here, Panda fam. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so she comes back to check in on how Brother's progress is going, mind manipulating Soji, and he's like, she dreams, and her initial reaction is like,
so fucking what?
All right.
Your point?
And he's like, well, listen, like, she's a synth. Why did whoever program her to have dreams, nightmares? What's the point of this? And she's like, well, it's just a malfunction. It's a bug. It's blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, it's a vulnerability. Like, it's a way to essentially, like, get information.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the only time I can recall Data having dreams is when he was dreaming about his father, Dr. Soong, and it was kind of like a weird sort of dream thing in Next Gen, and I can't recall the episode, but it's Soong appears in it. They're on the Enterprise. He's walking around. There's like a bird. His dad's like working on a anvil, like a blacksmith.
That's an interesting. We'll save that thought for later on. Save that thought for later on. Good night, says Hobie. Good night. Then me from Florida, where it's summer 24/7.
Listen, you. We're in Florida.
Listen, you. Yeah, listen, we're up here in Chicago.
I was in Nashville yesterday.
Although it's not been too bad this winter.
No, it's been a pretty mild winter.
Honestly. So after the scene with Narek and his sister, the weird scene, the weird step-sibling thing, Mark says, "Hey, fam, have a good night, buddy." We go back to the ship, and essentially what we come to learn here is that they are headed to the artifact. They need some sort of authorization to get on the artifact, and they don't have that authorization.
Yes. Because the artifact is in Romulan space.
Right. And so...
Artifact being the captured board cube.
Picard is basically going to try and get Rafi to work her connections and see if...
Well, he's trying to get authorization, and Rafi says, like, I'll get it for you.
Yeah.
He offers.
Yeah. So he's trying to get...
It's not really an ask.
Sure, yeah, you're right. It's not really an ask so much as it's like, yeah, let me see what I can do for you, sort of thing.
So she's also ham-boned while this is going.
Hammered, and we know why. It's because of the interaction she had
with her son.
with her son in the last episode.
And the traditional Romulan-looking wife, which I don't know why you would do when there's all these other great-looking Romulan out there all of a sudden.
Like Rizzo, for example.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next scene is her talking to this old Connect. I'm enjoying the review. Thanks, Hobie.
Thanks.
I appreciate that. So the next scene is her talking to her Connect in the Federation and trying to get these authorizations or whatever credentials for scientific diplomatic mission.
Yeah.
And her friend's like, well, I wish I could help you, but I can't.
Yeah. And Rafi's like, well, I'm with Picard, and we're going whether you give us or not, whether you give us permission or not.
We're 3 hours away.
Yeah, so it's best that you just give us permission and avoid an international incident.
And yes. And one of the things that I noticed when watching this episode was this was almost a very meta nod to the Next Generation, and
I missed it the first time around. My Champish friend pointed it out to me.
Those fans of the Next Generation that are, and we all know that, like, well, we don't all know, but for those of you who are not familiar, the Next Generation was all about resolving its episode issues with talking.
Yes.
95% of those episodes were resolved with talking.
Yeah, they talked their way into and out of everything.
Everything.
Thanks for the like on the share, Kayla.
Yeah, thank you, Kayla. I appreciate that. This particular series has been anything but. In fact, it's almost gone out of its way to, basically, tell Picard to, jog on every time he tries to explain himself. Mm. Oh, you've got this issue going on? Wish I could help you, bro. Peace. Pretty much. And this was the one, except for the last episode where they kind of chit-chatted and got that.
Yeah, they got out.
They kind of got out of
But then Seven went in.
Then Seven went in and was just like, boom, 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 boom.
So there was a meme that I shared on the Panda fan page where it's the Danny DeVito one, and I've seen it in a lot of contexts. Where he's holding a couple of guns and he's there, I think, as Frank from It's Always Sunny, and he's like, so anyway, I started blasting. So it was the meme was up on top. It's like Picard all right, Seven, we work very hard to maintain our humanity, so don't squander it. And then it was Danny DeVito with just the little Borg playing over his eye, and it was Seven. So anyway, I started blasting.
So see, Hobie says it too.
Hobie knows what's up.
Hobie knows. Now, which one is Picard? The bald Professor X dude? Yes.
That's him.
Patrick Stewart is.
You got it.
He plays Picard. He played Picard through 7 seasons and 4 movies? 3 movies? 4 movies through The Next Generation.
Generations, First Contact, Insurrection,
and Nemesis.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. And now this series, which takes place 20 years later, which is actually real time.
20 years later, so it's
roughly,
very conveniently written.
Yes. But anyway, so this very meta nod to the Next Generation, where Rafi essentially talks her way out of. I was literally watching this the entire time.
But I'm going to make a distinction here, because when Picard talks his way into or out of things, it is diplomatically. He's doing it earnestly.
Sure.
Rafi uses a little bit of skill and manipulation here.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some silver tongue.
There's
action.
some underhandedness.
She definitely has got a little bit of a silver tongue in convincing people to give her what she wants. And it's funny because she's she's hammed when she does this. She takes a little rip of her snake leaf or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, and her vape pen.
And does the thing. But I just thought it was a really, really cool, because it's the second time you pointed out that we've heard the original score in an episode, like when he first came onto the ship, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and they're blasting off into space.
Right. And now this, where they actually negotiate with this Federation person that she's talking to.
Some random captain who's got the power to give them the diplomatic clearance that they need.
She gives it to him for 24 hours.
24 hours, and don't ever call me again.
So Rafi basically loses a friend in the process, but at the same time,
but she's too ripped to give a shit.
Picard gives her a hand and everything, and then we get, after she leaves the scene, we get that very classic and then, fade out and everything. So I thought it was just
Picard's like, Oh God, thank God that worked.
Thank God that worked, because nothing has worked for him at all this entire season, and that thing worked. So
thank you for the like.
Thank you, Hobie. Appreciate that.
Oh, and a follow too.
Oh, I didn't even realize you weren't following, man. Welcome to the Panda Fam. Hell yeah, buddy. So it was just a really, really cool meta nod with like the original score and everything, kind of like subliminally telling you like, hey, this.
Yep.
They just got through.
Here you go,
this.
next gen fans.
Here you
Here's
go,
a bone.
next gen fans. Here's your bone. Like, it was really, really nifty. Matthew, thank you for the like on the stream. So she negotiates. This is, you know, the end of the scene where he kind of relieved, sits down, and we get the score and everything. And again, I just
thank you, Lord Jesus.
To anybody who, you know, the writing, like I said, there have been a couple of points where it's been kind of very, very quickly like glossed over something, or the writing has been, you know, a little bit on the lazier side. But as far as like the score and everything is concerned. Hobie says, and this is why you have 2 accounts. I got banned on my other account for spamming your comment. What? Fuck the system of Facebook. Oh shit, man, that's crazy.
Wow. All right, Hobie.
That's nuts.
Well, that's pretty hardcore.
Spamming your comment.
Which comment?
Which comment was it that you were spamming?
Also, what's up, Matthew Tyler Durden?
Yeah, what's up, Matthew Tyler Durden? Tyler Durden. Anyway, so it's just a really cool nod to the next generation fans and all that sort of stuff. The next picture I got, because I just really like every time they show the Borg cube like this.
Word.
Like, it looks so cool. Like, we got a little dog here.
Yeah,
a little dog here there. Thanks,
there's like 4 dogs running around downstairs. You might hear them barking in the background.
Yeah, my buddy brought his 2 dogs.
They enjoy playing with other dogs, and since my pandish friend here has 2 dogs.
Panda Pup and Pup Panda.
Is that what they are? They're
spamming your stream, apparently.
Really?
Whatever. Probably sharing it out too much. Facebook probably blocked you from sharing or whatever.
Share or 2 will do.
Yeah, sure. You don't need to share the hell out of it, man.
Don't risk your account on our part.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. So anyway,
not that we don't appreciate it. That's pretty pretty valiant.
Yeah, it is. Indeed. So we go back to the artifact, and it's basically at this point that Soji's told by Narek that like she has conversations with her mom, and she's mentioning to him like she and him are on like together.
Yeah.
And they're walking around, and she's like something. I think she mentioned something about like falling asleep every night, like to her mom.
Oh, he mentioned, she's like, oh, did you have a chance to ask her about whatever? I forget what the hell they were talking about, and she's like, oh, I was going to, but I fell asleep talking to her. And he's like,
does that happen often?
Does that happen often? He's like, she's like, I don't know, I don't feel like it does. And he's like, oh, well, that's weird, because every call
every night
lasts precisely 70 seconds with your mom.
Yep.
And she's like,
impossible.
What?
Impossible.
What?
And he's like, I'll show you the logs.
What?
So again, just kind of, I'll make
an army of Hobies.
I'll make an army of Hobies. There you go, man.
Yeah.
So he just very conveniently drops that little nugget in there for her, like, all right, now it's time for you to go, like...
Gets the gears a-turning.
Gets the gears cranking.
And he's like, why? Because you think that I'm, like, lying? And he's like, well, we're all hiding something, whether we know it or not. And I don't know if he says that in this scene or in the previous one. I feel like it's in the previous one.
It's in the previous one, in bed with her or whatever. And it's...
Wait, is this a different Hobie?
No, it's a different one.
It is. There's Hobie Sumner and Hobie Montgomery Sumner.
Yep. 2 Hobies. He will indeed make an army of Hobies.
Oh, I see. So the Hobie Sumner got banned, and then you immediately made Hobie Montgomery Sumner?
Or he has a Hobie Montgomery.
I'm impressed.
Indeed. So anyway, she tries to test this theory by going and then speaking to her mom.
Who we know
we've known for a while now is not. It's something.
Yeah, it's like a program.
And I think
it makes her fall asleep.
I think we get further confirmation that it is indeed a program of some sort, because she talks to her, and then she falls asleep or starts to, and she grabs like a pen or something to like poke herself real fast and wake herself up to try and like see what's going on.
Yeah.
And like you can see like you can see the program glitching out, like some like glitches from the dream like come back to her in that scene, and then you get this scene where like she falls asleep and the mom is like smiling at her as she's falling asleep, and then after she's asleep like it glitches out,
the
like
mom
this,
glitches
and like ends up like the like it's just really creepy, and like it's almost got like that horror aspect to it a little bit.
Yeah. Did we skip?
We did.
Okay.
We did. And
we got excited.
We got real excited for Soji and her mom. But before that, we get a scene between Rios and Rafi where he's kind of, tucking her in and making sure she's, good after
she was hammed
and all that sort of stuff. And yes, I'm his future self, few days ahead. Nice. You're his evil twin brother. Is that how it goes?
Days of Hobie past.
Days of Hobie's past. Anyway,
it is indeed creepy. But this tuck-in scene here, I thought for a hot second that Rios was going to go for the twofer.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't.
He's noble.
Well, and I think the fact that he's known her for a long, long, long time too, like they're friends, and I don't know that they've ever done anything or had any relationship.
No, they don't hint at that.
They don't, and for Rios, I think Girardi's like new, shiny object sort of thing. Not object, but she's
careful, Panda.
Yeah, I know, not object, but like she's like the new shiny, like, oh, who's this?
Who's this blondie?
Who's this mysterious?
Hello, blondie.
Who's this mysterious doctor lady? Okay,
Blondie EJ.
And with Rafi, it's more of a friendship thing, so he's not trying to do any of that, but. We get a
he tucks her in. It's a tender moment.
Yeah, it's a tender moment. She talks about her son that she met or she talked to. She's like,
how long have you known me?
Long time.
Yeah, well, you didn't know I had a son, did you?
How bad is that?
Guess that makes me shitty.
Yep, basically. And she's like, I got a granddaughter. I'll probably never see her ever. Like, it's just a really, like, she is just in shambles, man.
Yeah, she's haunted.
She is just haunted.
Haunted by her own decisions.
Haunted. So that's the scene that we get before the Soji with her mom scene, and then we go back to ship with Picard and the crew and everything, and there they get to where they need to go, the artifact, and they're just kind of chilling there because the Ramalama Ding Dongs haven't given them clearance to land yet.
Yeah.
And they're like, wait, it's restricted clearance. Like, you have these coordinates to beam to, and it's just Picard who's supposed to come.
Yeah, none of the rest of you assholes.
Nobody else can come with
and Picard is like, Elnor, no matter what, you stay on the ship.
Elnor, I don't care if and Elnor is like, my bond goes beyond, like, diplomatic decrees and all this other bullshit. And Picard's like, listen here, stay on this ship. And Elnor officially.
And Elnor's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
whatever you say, Picard.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Picard. So yeah, we get this scene where they essentially beam Picard to the artifact. How long are these episodes and what station does it show on? It's on CBS.
45 to 55 minutes and on CBS All Access. But if you're overseas, I think you said Florida, so it's going to be CBS All Access. But if you're overseas, they're on Amazon Prime.
I'm pretty sure they come out on Amazon Prime like a couple of days.
A day later, it's Friday they air.
Yeah, so even. What is that?
So it's like less than 24 hours.
Is that here too?
No.
That's just in the UK.
Yeah.
And in Canada.
The fuck is my dog doing?
I don't know. I've heard him borking.
Yeah, why isn't my fiance doing anything?
I don't
like
know.
letting him out.
I think they're playing down there. Maybe.
Sounds like it.
Sure. Why not?
She's yelling at him now.
So anyway, back to the episode where we're talking about them beaming Picard directly to particular coordinates given to them by the Romulans. They've got restricted access. They haven't been given clearance to land or anything. They're just supposed to beam Picard aboard. That's it. They're supposed to wait for him, I think. Pretty much. And yeah, so he's beamed to the artifact. And before we get that, or we as he's being beamed to the artifact, we get a scene back in
this
the
cool.
artifact where Soji.
She's doing a little digging, a little investigation.
She
Her
wakes
curiosity's gotten the best of her.
She wakes up from her mother-induced sleep, and her curiosity, as you said, gets the best of her. And she gets, I believe it's a carbon dater.
Yeah, something.
What could be assumed as a carbon dater. And she starts scanning all of her personal effects, like drawings and pictures and things that you would think you would have from childhood.
Yes.
And she starts scanning everything.
In fact, you see in the very beginning of the dream sequence, they make a good show of her having that necklace on while she's a child.
Right. Yep. Come to find out that all of the things she scans, all of the things she thought were from her childhood, are only 37
months old. 37
months old. So
just a touch over 3 years.
Just a touch over 3 years. And as we found out in the previous episode, her and her sister were sent to Earth in the artifact to find out why or what happened with the synths that day 20 odd years ago or whatever.
Right. And if there are why the ban happened and who was after them.
Right. Exactly.
So it makes sense where they were sent.
Right.
Because one was sent to Earth to the Daystrom Institute to learn from there.
Right.
One was sent to the artifact to learn from the Romulans because those are the two main suspects as far as who hijacked the synths.
Right. And I'm still wondering how the Borg play into this.
Right, her life is indeed fake. All of her memories have been implanted. She's only 3 years old, but doesn't know it. She thinks she's like mid to late 20s.
She's an android, essentially, a synth, as they call them in this series. But she's like Data was in the old series, except much more advanced, it would seem.
Yes.
Like, she's so human. Like, she's so advanced that she doesn't even realize she's an android.
Right.
Like, that's where we're at with her. So,
yep.
And the thing about these two, Hobie, is neither one of them, like, are activated yet. Like,
by them, we mean Soji and her
sister,
dead twin sister Daj, who died in the first or second episode.
Who are both synths, and that's what kind of catapults the series and Picard to go after the sister and all that sort of stuff. The sister activated in the first episode, and she ended up whooping the shit out of all these Romulans, and then ended up getting her ass essentially dissolved and blown up
in acid.
And then the disruptor ends up blowing up in her face or whatever it is, and blowing her up. But her sister is still not activated now. Think of it like a sleeper cell agent, like when they hear a special word or something.
Like Manchurian Candidate kind of thing.
Right, they activate and start going on like a badassery rampage, and that's
So when you only activate when your life's in like super danger,
right? Which is what happens in the.
Other than that, you act like a normal human. This one, when your life's in danger, you can act like an android and do superhuman things, strength, speed, etc.
Right. So she's scanning all this stuff and finds out that none of the shit that she's thought was real is actually real, or it is real, but it's not. Like, none of the stuff's older than 3 years old, essentially. Right. So it's just a very crazy moment for her, where she's essentially figuring out who she is.
Quite dope indeed.
All of this happening while Picard is beaming onto the artifact to try and find her. Now, we're finally, and this is what Game of Thrones, I thought, did really well as the seasons progressed, like, albeit through an eight season burn, but they finally, like, you like, through season 1, you got a whole bunch of different storylines in a whole bunch of different places. And in this season, you had, like, through the first 4 or 5 episodes, you had a whole bunch of
you had quite a few perspectives.
Bing, back and forth between the cube and Picard. And what I thought Game of Thrones did really, really well, that this show now is doing well, is that they start to rapid fire those scenes. You're good. Go ahead. Put a little more gusto.
Getting some air in here because I think I'm sucking it all out of the room.
For sure. Donald, thank you for the like on the stream, by the way, buddy. Yo, what's up, buddy? Been a minute. Where is Scotty, though? Scotty's long gone, man.
Scotty doesn't know that
Scotty doesn't
me
know.
doing in my van every Sunday.
I'm getting all she's got.
Church, but
Anyway, so where was I? Oh, all of this happening, her scanning and figuring out like shit's 3 years old or whatever, while Picard's getting beamed to the cube. And I think this episode's really good in the fact that we haven't had really much in the way of the Borg cube over the last episode and a half ish, but like Game of Thrones did when they get to a climax, they would start throwing scenes at you back and forth, and then eventually those scenes would be like
mushed together, yeah.
And that was what they did in this episode, because now you've got Picard here. He's beamed onto the artifact. He's having flashbacks of when he's, back when he was assimilated, when he was Locutus.
What's up, Mason?
Hey, what's up, Mason? Thanks for the like.
Mason, I'm a Mason too.
Triple shares on the stream. Why am I just now seeing this?
I don't know. We've done it for the last 6 weeks.
I don't know. We'll
continue to do it for the next 4.
Yeah, we'll continue to do it. Well, I think maybe tonight is why is he just now seeing?
Oh,
we've probably been live for about an hour already. So that's probably. You get
an hour and 2 minutes exactly.
You get another notification, like it'll say Tambourine Panda is still live after an hour or so. So yeah,
Facebook is a dick.
That's why you're getting that now, Mason. But thank you for coming on in with the like and the shares on the stream. I appreciate that. So here in this scene, we get Picard, and he's I wouldn't even call it reminiscing. He's having vicious
panic attack.
He's having vicious flashbacks of when he was assimilated as a Borg and was Locutus. And we get that. We get the beautiful cinematography of the Borg cube.
Oh man, the scene here is just gorgeous as they kind of pan out as he's walking across, like the cat walks without the guardrails.
That very vertigo kind of feel to it.
It's super
really,
cool.
really well done. And then you get like a flashback of old crew members being assimilated, and this flashback, which I'm really happy I was able to capture.
Dude, it was. I am beyond impressed that you were able to get this, because this was on screen for like legit a 16th of a second. You got to be quick on the trigger finger in order to be able to get this one. But my boy here,
and he has flashbacks, man, back of first contact of when
first contact of best of both worlds,
and all this. It was just a really, really, really cool cinema, like this. The way that they pan out in that Borg cube to give you that vertigo feeling, exactly like he's probably feeling, when he drops to his knees and he's probably feeling sick, like he wants to throw up, and then he's having all these flashbacks, and they're hitting you with it, with the lights and with the zip, 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 and it almost made you feel sick as a viewer, but it was a really cool way to like immerse you with all of the senses with this particular scene. Like, do I want to feel sick to my stomach when I'm watching TV? No, but do I know how he feels? Yes, I do. And then we get the reunion between Hugh.
Oh, this was just awesome.
Go ahead.
Because I wasn't sure how this was going to go.
Because we've speculated, like, Hugh's kind of had this
sinister... they had like a weird kind of vibe around him in previous showings with him. And we weren't sure how the reunion was going to go. We weren't sure how it was going to be seeing Picard. The last time we saw Hugh was in the episode, previous to this series, was in the episode Descent, where, so Hugh was the Borg that they found ages ago in season, like, I don't know, like 3 or 4. And they kind of gave him an identity and broke him off from the collective and then reintroduced him. Well, giving him individuality and reintroducing him to the collective turned out to be detrimental. Borg were malfunctioning, and it was horrific because his thing didn't jive with the collective mind.
Right.
And so they were kind of wandering, and then Lore found them, and there was this whole big mess in the episode, 2-part episode, Descent. And then he was like, well, what are we going to do? We don't have a leader. And Picard's like, I think that's true. And so I guess Hugh led them, but now he's running this Borg reclamation project, and so we weren't sure. That was the last time that Hugh saw Picard, and so Picard knew that Hugh was on there due to previous research in this episode, And so we weren't sure how it was going to go. And then Hugh was basically like,
Yeah, that was, just to interject real quick. That was the scene where he has the hologram with he saw Hugh's picture before that.
Before
and he's
the
like, holy
Locutus,
shit,
yeah.
Hugh.
And when he beams onto the cube, he's like freaking out, and like these former Borg drones that have been deborgified catch him, but that's not how Picard sees him. He sees him all borged up and like holding him, and he was like, they just don't want you to fall. And then he kind of gains his feet, and the former drones let him go, and then he's like, Hugh, is that you? And he was like, thank God, you're awesome. Glad you're here. I don't know why you're here, but whatever you need, I got you, dude, because you're awesome.
Yeah, I literally got you on whatever you need. And Picard's like, holy shit, a friendly face. And they have like this friendly embrace, and it's just a really cool like TNG moment where they reunite again. And yeah, man, like you can tell, like now at this point, like, and here was my speculation after seeing this, like perhaps Hugh was skeptical about Soji and her intentions and Narek, so he was like playing like the creepy, like I'm gonna try and figure out what's
going
up to,
on, and that might have been why we got that kind of vibe.
And he also kind of says to Picard too, he's like, oh, that explained why the like creepy Romulan spy showed up here 2 weeks ago. Like what, like.
Hugh knows exactly what's going on. He knows the whole score.
He knows what's going on.
He's like, I'm here looking for Soji, and it's like, oh, Dr. Asha, yeah. It's like, notice anything weird? Yep, super weird Romulan spy showed up here 2 weeks ago. He's been spending a bunch of time with her.
He's been like a silent watcher, which
they did do an awesome part in the scene, Hobie.
Oh yeah. Wait, what? That sounds like they did an awesome. Oh yeah, they did. It was a really good. It was a really good feel good moment.
There was there was like 25 years of context behind it too. So
yeah, it was a good feel good moment for Next Generation fans, and fans of Hugh, man, who like wanted to know what happened after his whole encounter with Laura and stuff. So it's just really nice to see that, first of all, he's regained a lot of his humanity, and second, like he's able to help Picard out through this.
To the last awesome part of this episode, which is about to heat up
real quick here. So we go back to Soji's room, and again, now
from one hug to another.
We're getting the back and forth like rapid fire scenes between her and Picard, and again, this is a really good stylistic choice in my opinion. I felt Game of Thrones did this well. The Witcher did this really well in the last couple of episodes.
Yep.
Where they rapid fire scenes at you, and then eventually they boom, like in some like
the collision course,
some massive collision, explosion, like, and you'll see what I mean by that here. We'll talk about that in just a second. What's up, Fryer? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for the like on the stream, my dude. So I started blasting scenes.
What?
What do you mean? So you started blasting scenes?
Oh, so he's talking about the Frank Reynolds. So I started blasting. So I started blasting scenes like back and forth.
Oh yeah. So I started blasting scenes back and forth. So yeah, we're here after the reunion with Picard and Hugh, and this is Soji and Narek, and Narek's like, what does this all mean? And she's like, I don't know what it means. I'm afraid. And she's like, I'm so frightened. And he suggests, I can't remember the phrase. It's like
we said too,
Taj Narek or something, or like
yeah. We're like, oh, we gotta remember this.
Essentially, it's Romulan like meditation.
Yeah, and it's so like Vulcans have a mind meld. This is almost like a mind map that you walk around on a floor.
Right. We talked about that, like the Vulcan mind meld. This is like you mapping your mind out and discovering, like he calls it the center later on. They're going through this, which they get to literally in the next scene here. He goes to this room. Like, we're not even talking about, like, all right, like, let's prepare you for this meditation. Like, we're going right now to do this. Like, and now...
Because he knows he's close.
And now, exactly. And now is when Narek, again, he feels like he's close.
Pounce.
He's about to put the cherry on top of the cake here and finish his manipulation of her to get the information that he wants.
Must be Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, then.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte?
Uh-huh.
Oh, what is that, black cherry cake?
Black Forest cherry cake,
Black Forest cherry cake,
yeah.
Right.
I made Daniela make me some for my last birthday.
Awesome.
It was great.
Was it delicious?
It was super delicious. She's got a baking business on the side.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Yeah, her and her mom make bakery quality shit. It's ridiculous.
I'll have to buy something one of these days.
Indeed. Kuchen.
A Kuchen. Tortas. Who can? Anyway, so can they jump? Can they jump into anyone's mind? The Vulcans can do that. The Romulans,
The Vulcans, it's semi-voluntary.
yeah.
Like if you hold somebody down, you could probably do it. But then you gotta go like, my mind,
And then I'm like,
and then like we see each other's minds.
yeah, we see each other's minds. So it's not.
This is a little bit less invasive.
Well,
It's more drawing things out.
Here's the other thing about the mind meld too. Like you said, we see each other's minds.
Yeah,
she doesn't see anything about Narek here.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
sees everything about her, and
But only because she voluntarily spills the beans
yes, she does.
in her
She does.
state of naivete.
So we come back to the point. We're going to come back to a point that was made earlier in the episode where Romulans have two names, and he kept saying like. She kept calling his name as he was leaving in that earlier episode. He's like, "That's not my." He did the
They call me Narek.
He did like the
They call me
Zoolander
Romulan.
thing. Like he turns.
They call me Jaffash.
He walks out and he does this. He's like, "That's not my name." Like he literally did one of those. Like
That's not my name. That's not my name.
That's not my name.
That's not my name.
And it's like, oh, all right, that's all right. You're gonna play that then, huh? So anyway. He tells her like what is real. It's like Naj Sharash or something like some Ramilama ding dong name like that.
Sounds like Egyptian.
Naj Sharash or whatever the hell he says his name is. Well, he actually tells her what his real name is, which in Romulan tradition like is supposed to be given to the one you love. Very intimate, all this sort of stuff. So like that's literally the cherry on his mind manipulation cake that has been serving to Soji here for the last 5 episodes.
You just got served breakfast,
dinner, and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, man, because of what happens next. So he takes her into this meditation room and basically plays on that dream that she has with her and her father. She's like, I can never see what's behind him.
Yeah,
like,
they're trying to figure out. So they know that she's a synth. They know that she's what they call the destroyer. They're trying to find out if there are any more. So they got to know
where the homeworld.
Yeah, where the homeworld is, and so they need to get information, and so that's what he's after here.
Right, exactly.
Which is why they haven't just killed her.
Which was actually good. I'm so happy they did this at the end of this particular scene, because to do anything other than that would have been bad writing, in my opinion. So he works her through the dream, because she keeps telling him like, I can't see, like every time I'm in the dream I go into my father's lab.
Yeah, there's orchids in the way
I
can't see.
Which talked about were possibly named after her sister or whatever. Or her sister was named after the orchids, whatever. But every time she goes into the lab in the dream, her father turns around and yells at her, and that's when she wakes up or whatever.
Yep.
She never sees what's behind him or what he's working on or anything else in the dream. So that's essentially what Narek is working her through, is to try and like, okay, when he yells at you, like, don't get afraid, like, go behind him and see what he's working on. See what he's working on, and you come to find out.
No, they're not trying to harness the power or protect the universe. So the Romulans are the kind of the bad guys, and they want to destroy all of the synths. They're afraid of them for whatever reason. They think they're going to have a bad effect on the universe.
Androids,
Answering Hobie's question.
Yeah. Which is confirmed in like episode 2 by Laris, I think. She's like, we've never believed in synths. We've never believed in android technology or whatever it was. So it's just like it's almost like a core Romulan belief. Like one of those sorts of things. So he's working her through the dream, and this is essentially what she sees her father working on the workshop. Is like, he's like Geppetto and she's like Pinocchio.
Which is also interesting because there was a lot of allusions made to Data being Pinocchio.
Interesting.
Especially early on in the season of Next Gen. I think there might even be an episode called that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
So this is very interesting.
Juxtaposition. And she tells Narek that she sees herself on the table, and then he tells her to look out through the window, which
wants to be a real boy.
Which is really random. Like, if I were her, I would be like, why are you asking me? Like, I don't know, like, it would have struck me as weird if someone was telling me like, all right, you're here, you're focused on your dad, and what's behind your dad? Now look up the window!
Yeah.
What do you see?
Yeah,
but she's like in the meditation.
She's so in the moment. Like I would have answered it too if I were her.
She's in the meditation and she looks up out the skylight and she sees 2 red moons and a bunch of lightning strikes. Now, what we know and she doesn't through this entire scene is that sister is essentially listening in on a communicator.
Yeah, hey, we know that. She doesn't know that.
We know that.
We know that.
We know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. Anyway, so she's listening in on a communicator, and as soon as she finds that out, she's like, "Oh, very good, little brother." And she's like, "I need the location."
She's like, "I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. I need the location of a planet that has 2 red moons and a bunch of lightning storms." Like, bing, bang, boom. And as soon as that's done, Narek opens the cube and essentially is like, "Peace, bitch. You're dead. I got everything you needed. I needed out of you, and I'm gonna immediately kill you now." Because throughout this entire season, the whole thing about Rizzo was just kill her already. Just kill her. She's the destroyer. Just kill her. And this is what.
Meanwhile, you want to plow her, but
this is what he's been trying to get out of her this whole time, and it makes absolute sense that he would immediately go to kill her afterwards, because now he's gotten everything he needs out of her.
Sure, yeah, no, I mean, that's absolute perfect.
However, you can tell that he does have feelings for her because he's like, "I'm so sorry, Soji." And he turns around and looks at her with tears in his eyes, and that's when she activates and starts beating holes through the ground, man. And like,
it's a wooden floor.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever it was under that wooden floor, like she grabs it and cranks it up, man. Like, I'm thinking there's some metal reinforcement under that.
Could very well be.
So she escapes by like basically punching through the floor.
It's like reverse Mario Brothers.
Yeah, it's awesome. It was awesome. And like Narek's like, holy shit, and like gets on his intercom, and at this whole point, like, then you've got Picard like back in her room, because him and Hugh, like, he told Hugh to basically take Hugh.
Yeah, it's the 6-inch punch from Kill Bill.
Yeah, it's the exactly, man. She Kill Billed it, man. Except she wasn't locked in a coffin, so she could really crank on that shit. But yeah, it was a 6-inch punch, man. The 5-finger death punch, whatever, from the end of that movie.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, like that. How it goes. I know, the martial arts secrets. Anyway, so she punches through the damn ground, and, you know, it's at this point, like, Hugh and Picard are in her room because Picard has asked Hugh to, like, I need to find her right away, like, take me to. So they get to the room, and they find all the shit all over the place that she's, like, carbon scanned. And Hugh's like, what the hell's going on? And he tries to find her, and initially he can't find her because, like, they've basically concealed her signal in this meditation room.
Yeah.
But as soon as she blasts through the door and, like, goes to, like, between 2 levels, Hugh's like, well, this isn't right.
Yeah, she's in between two levels. Moving faster than any human can. He's like, she's activated. Oh, shit.
Picard's like, she's activated. You need to get me to her now. And, like, then you get to the next scene where, like, she literally, like, Picard walks into a room and she blasts through the ceiling. And Picard's like, Soji? And she's like, do you know who I am?
Who the fuck are you?
Are you, old man? And he's like, he shows her the necklace immediately, and he's like, I tried to help your sister and I couldn't. I failed. Please let me help you. And she's like,
you have to trust me.
She has that moment where she's like, do I trust this old man? Do I not? Do I trust him? And he's like, please trust me. Like, please trust me. So she goes with him, and you get this next scene here with her, Picard, and Hugh, like, looking for a way to get the hell out of there. And Hugh ends up finding the Queen cell, which is awesome because as soon as Picard walks into it, both of them are like, the Queen, this is the Queen cell.
Yeah, also, we've never been in here, but because we were part of the collective, we remember it.
And know
even though
everything that happens, it just is there. Like, Hugh even says it, he's like, I don't know, it's just there. Like,
there's essentially like a super hardcore Borg transporter on there.
Right.
That they could walk through basically to anywhere up to 40,000 light years, I think they said.
They explain it really fast. It was there when they, like, assimilated the Sarkeesians, I think they said. And it was a way for the Queen to, like, get the hell out of Dodge super fast.
She needed to.
So Picard and Soji use it as a get out of jail free card, like, immediately.
Yep.
And at this point,
they're screwed because some Romulans show up.
At this point, they're kind of screwed because some Romulans show up. But before we get to that little part, we go back to the ship, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, they're in shit! We need to get them out of there. We can't find them." And everybody's like,
"Where's Elnor?
Where's Elnor at?" And then we go back to the ship, and you hear like these Romulans. They're like, "Drop your weapons! Blah, 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 step away!" And then all of a sudden, Elnor, Romulan Legolas, slink, slink, slink. Just see ya.
Skewers one of them like an olive.
And Picard's like, "I thought I told you to stay on the ship." And he's like,
"I didn't listen." And Picard's like, "All right, thanks,
bro." So Elnor basically like tells Picard, he's like, "Listen, I'll secure your exit. Get the hell out of here." And the episode ends with him saying his line, "Please, friends.
Choose to live."
Choose to live. Episode end.
He's
baby!
like, "I'm gonna cover your exit. You don't need to." "Yeah, I do."
And him and Q
like,
walk out.
"All right, fine."
Or Hugh, and that's the scene that I got up here with the door kind of closing on the episode, and that's when we get the "Please, friends, choose to live." And that's the end. And oh my God, man, this episode was just, like I said before we started this, like. That was like, and now I'm like aching.
Yeah,
to
there's
see
a lot of payoff on this episode.
I'm aching to see episode 7 right now because it's like, holy shit, we saw the preview. Like he goes to this planet Nephlina, or I forget.
I missed it.
I forget what the name of it was. But as soon as I heard it in the episode, I was like, this is where we get our Riker payoff. And sure enough, in the preview, he's like, "Oh, hello, Will." And like, you see Riker like stand up all surprised.
Oh my God,
it's Jean-Luc goddamn Picard. So this is, we've been through six episodes of this, and I've got to say this. I'm in a similar place I was after 6 episodes of The Witcher. I really am.
Yeah.
Because now after episode 5 and 6, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, we've established the universe. We've established the characters. Everything's ready to go. I don't think we're going to be adding anybody else. And now it's time for action. The back half of last episode, all of this episode.
Well, and what's been interesting, too, to see through this season is just how much that supernova affected everything. Not just with the Federation, but the neutral zone no longer exists.
Right.
You've got 7 of 9 out with the Fenris Rangers.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of people saying, like, that should be a show.
The Borg black market for parts and stuff. I mean,
it's a little more dystopian, which I'm fine with.
Absolutely, but you still get your little nods to the old school Next Generation. Like in this episode where Rafi talks her way through getting the credentials, and then you get the old TNG score, da, 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 da. And you get a commercial break after that, and it's literally what happens though in this episode. Like that's like, so you get the nods to the Next Generation, but you've got this show that's kind of forging its way through a new, to boldly go where no one's gone before, and that's kind of where this show is going. You know?
No, it's been where no Star Trek's been before. That's for certain.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. And the action, the fact that they killed off potentially one of the main characters in the first episode in Dodge.
Yeah.
Like, that surprised the shit out of me. I was like...
Yeah, and then, like, they spend half the season looking for Maddox and then ace him right away.
And then, boom, he's gone by none other than his former lover.
Yeah.
Who is clearly got some
psychological
a lot of
intrigue.
Issues.
Yeah, a lot of intrigue. Complex characters.
You've got Rafi with an extremely complex background who's, she's clearly not been there for her husband and her son. We don't know anything about her husband.
He's clearly on the drugs.
She's on the sauce. She's on the snake leaf. She's on, she's got a very complicated history, and she takes to her vices. You've got Rios, who we know nothing about.
Yeah,
and just comes across as this badass. I can do the part. I can do the.
I heard somebody. We've been calling him Han Solo. I heard somebody say he's closer to Logan.
Like Logan from
like
the
Wolverine.
movie Logan?
Yeah, like Wolverine in general.
Gotcha.
Where he's like just kind of like...
Did you hear their...
Like he'll do the good thing.
Did you hear they're thinking about introducing a new Wolverine, and they're thinking about Henry Cavill and Captain Marvel?
Really?
I haven't seen the videos or the...
He's a busy boy.
But yes, he is. They've started shooting for the second season. William, thank you for the like on the stream, by the way, brother. So, I will say that there have been some moments where
Kobe, by the way, you said this a while ago, but I'm glad we're making you want to watch it.
Yeah, that's good.
You should. It's good.
I mean, we're not like we're Star Trek.
Yeah, we're not shilling for it.
We're Star Trek fans, but we're not shills for Star Trek. Like, we're gonna call it out if it's a shitty episode or if there's some shitty writing involved. Like, we have with episode 2 and 3, I felt were very, but they were tasked with. This is a 10-episode season, so they've got a lot of time to explain a lot of things.
But yeah, you got to build the characters, the new characters. You've got to catch people up on the old characters. You've got a world build because we haven't seen the prime timeline, and this is 20 years later, so you got 20 years of history to catch up on. And then on top of that, you got to move the story, so it's a tall order.
And yeah, exactly. And to any of the naysayers that are out there, like, the people that reviewed the first episode and they're like, oh my god, Romulan blood is like alien blood now and it's acidic. It's like, were you not paying it? Like, pay attention to the episode and understand that it was actually like a capsule that dude bit down on.
Hugh Jackson? Like Hugh Jackman?
Yeah, you miss Hugh Jackman or Hugh Jackson?
I don't know who Hugh Jackson is.
Hugh Jackson like Michael like your Jackson's neighbor? Like, yeah, is Hugh Jackson your neighbor? Colby? But anyway, like, so the season, it started off with a bang, and I feel like it had to. Like, it drew people into the plot because it was like, okay, you've got this girl who is all of a sudden activated. She knows Data. She knows that Picard is she's gonna be safe with Picard, but she doesn't know why. And then Picard sees a picture on his mantle that looks just like her, and he's like, okay, like, you're probably Data's daughter, but it's a little more complicated than that. Like, he doesn't know this, but we know this now at this point. And I think
we know that. He doesn't
know that. We know that. Exactly. And she gets killed in the first episode, but then you come to find out that she's got a twin because they always are making heirs, and then you've got this Girardi character who comes off like the stereotypical scientific nerd, like super awkward in situations, but clearly has a sociopathic side to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got Rafi, who used to be Picard's security officer, and who clearly she had suspicion back 20 years ago that the Romulans were involved in this, and everybody you called it the Sarah Connor complex, where she literally was, oh, what about the last episode? Now tell me again about the crazy Romulan conspiracy. And she's like, that's real, damn it! Like, you're all gonna die. You better be wearing 1 million SPF sunblock, or you're gonna have a real bad tan on 1994 or 97 or whatever it is. Like, she's got the Sarah Connor complex, and she clearly has demons that she's dealing with, as evidenced by her.
Which, by the way, complete sidebar. I started watching that on the plane. When I was flying, I had a connecting flight through LA to Portland, and the turbulence got so bad, and I was like, I had to shut it off, and I haven't had a chance to finish that movie yet.
What movie?
The newest Terminator.
Oh, really? Dark Fate or whatever?
Yeah. I got like halfway through it, and I was like about to throw up coming in LA, so I had to shut it off. I ended up holding my cookies, but it was close. Yeah, that's about what I figured.
It could have been better, but whatever. It's a Terminator movie.
Anyway. I enjoy those.
Anyway, and now we've got this 6th episode where we're past the halfway mark. Both storylines have merged at this point.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna get the Romulans.
Yeah, we're gonna get heroes versus villains. We're
gonna get the Romulans now chasing after Picard and Soji. As evidenced by the next episode, where we get Girardi being like, they're not after us, they're after her, blah 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 blah, and he finds Riker and all this other sort of stuff. So it's been good, and like I said, I liken this to The Witcher in that the first 4 episodes were very heavy in the exposition, but they had to be.
Yeah.
And the last couple of episodes have been very good as far as moving the plot along fast, like in a fast pace, energy, attention grabbing sort of a way. Not to mention the little subliminal nods that they give to the next generation and all this other stuff. For anybody saying that this is a poorly written show, jog on.
Back off.
Just jog on, man. Like, this is a really well written show. Sure, there have been a couple of things like Maddox being our huge MacGuffin through the first 4 episodes. And he wasn't even really until like episode 3. It was like, oh, we've got to find. Well, episode 2. when Girardi mentioned that Maddox was the one that had helped with this, and he disappeared. So we kind of knew from episode 2 through 5 he was kind of our MacGuffin. But other than that, I mean, there really hasn't been any self-serving plot devices or any other, like, I don't know. It just feels. The progression of the show feels natural.
Yeah, it's genuine.
The character development feels natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody's doing things. So one of the biggest ways, in my opinion, that you get plot holes is by telling the story from the point of view of the story rather than the characters and their actions and how they would normally act.
Right.
If you write a story through characters and how normal interaction would occur, that's how you avoid plot holes, and I feel like that's what they've done here.
Sure. The one big thing that we will need to get to, maybe not even in this season, is how we're going to address the whole Girardi killing Maddox.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's obviously the biggest question mark hanging out there right now.
No question.
Also, I'd like to know what the hell happened to 7 and 9.
You went back to the Fenris Rangers.
I mean, they kind of just left it at the end of the episode.
That could be an entire spin-off if they wanted it to.
It really could.
7 of 9 and the Fenris Rangers. I'd watch that.
I would watch the shit out of that, man, because you know that's going to be down and dirty, especially the way she's.
I also love Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, and especially the way that she talks about how the neutral zone's crumpled and what they've had to do to kind of maintain order and stuff.
Yep. There
over the last, however many years, that would be a really, really interesting series. I'd be interested in watching that. But those are my thoughts as far as the season so far. I don't know, if you have anything you wanted to add to that or any.
We synergize. I'm 100% in line with what you're saying.
Personal insight or anything like that or any.
No, I'm excited to see his interaction with Will. We got a good portion of it, I feel, in the previews for the show.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see what they withheld, because even with a lot of the previews that they've shown, there've been key information that helped. The key thing that I see that they've done so far is they tease a lot, and I thought they gave away a whole bunch. We mentioned this earlier on. They gave away a whole bunch with the previews, but there's bits of information that they're withholding. Mm-hmm. I liken it to, do you remember the movie Bad Santa?
Yes.
Okay. Came out like when I was in, I think, high school, maybe early college. And they showed this preview over and over and over and over and over again. And it was Billy Bob Thornton saying, "I'm on my lunch break, okay?" They showed it, and they showed it, and they showed it, and they showed it. "I'm on my lunch break, okay? I'm on my lunch break, okay?" You get and you watch the movie, and Billy Bob Thornton's like, "I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay?" And the fact that they cut that out, but it had showed over and over that line, made it hilarious, whereas under normal circumstances it wouldn't be. Gotcha. I think what they're doing here is something similar in that they are showing us a lot of what's happening, but they're keeping key bits of it close to their chest. And that is making it much more enjoyable, so you have an idea what's coming, but there are things that you're not expecting that are still up their sleeve.
To that point, the one thing that sticks out the most for me in that, when you say that, is the preview scene when 7 of 9 is talking to Picard, and we all thought it was in the chateau on Earth, but it's not. It's in his ship on his room that's been designed to look like the chateau.
Yeah, but it's really like a hollow suite.
But it's really a hollow suite on his ship. And the only giveaway there was like the whole "what are you doing out here?"
Out here, Picard
sort of thing.
The
other thing I think I recall from the preview, either from last week's preview of this episode or the previews for the series in general, was there. I remember the clip of Soji, like that over the head clip where she's crawling in the meditation room. Like she's lying on the ground in the meditation room.
I'll have to go back and watch.
And I don't recall seeing the red smoke in the actual trailer clip.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch. I can't. I don't recall.
Like, it looks like she's like, it would almost make it seem like she was struggling with like a dream or something. Like, instead of actually being
Like radiated to
radiated to death by Narek, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, to your point, I think those are the small. It's almost like the Avengers type thing where they like green screen something out or like green screen something in a trailer. to, like,
No, I
throw
dig
you-
that.
Throw you for a loop or whatever, and we've gotten a couple of those through this series.
The interrupts make people do some crazy things.
They sure do. They sure do. But anyway, we are gonna go ahead and end the review here at this point. Again, this was episode 6, The Impossible Box, our Star Trek Picard review. And we will be back again tomorrow morning. I'm doing an Apex collaboration with my homies, the Public Square Gaming and the Strange One. So make sure you guys tune in. I believe those two are on Twitch, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure you guys tune in for that. It'll be 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow night will be Red Dead Redemption 2. And
Rot tot.
Rot tot. Rot. Wait, what's redemption in German?
I don't know.
Rot tot. I don't know.
We'd have to Google it.
Something spy. I don't know. Anyway, for me, Tambourine Panda, and my best friend Grant, this is your Star Trek Picard Episode 6 review. We will catch you on the flip side, Panda fam. Out.
See ya, Hobie.